7:37 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Coming up at 8:05, our friend Tucker Carlson from the Daily Caller. You're listening to the station where Washington comes to talk. I'm Brian Wilson, and he is Larry O'Connor.
I am, and I like the Redskins a lot more than the Ravens, but I have to give them their due. Congratulations to the Ravens. As Sally emailed in and reminded me, Michael Orr is a Raven. Of course, he is the subject of that great movie, The Blind Side, which really espoused some conservative values and was a really good. So I've been bashing on the Ravens a lot today, Brian Wilson. So let me just say, very, very happy for Michael Orr and his great adopted family there. Wonderful news for them.
Well, I'm happy for the city of Baltimore. I like Balmer, and look, if I can't have the Redskins, I want the Ravens to do well if they're in the playoffs, and I'm okay with that.
I'm sorry.
And I thought they think they look pretty good, but we really haven't talked football today.
I'm an NFC guy, okay? I'm going to take the NFC team, and I'm sorry that the 49ers got robbed. Trevor Matich joins us now. He's an NFC guy, too. Trevor, come on, that was pass interference on that last play there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pass interference, but what you have to expect in the Super Bowl is that the officials will give a lot of leeway for the players to play. And so calls like that you might get in the regular season have to be really egregious for the officials to put it on the backs of the officials in the Super Bowl. And I think you saw an example of that early in the game when there were a lot of punches thrown, actual punches after plays. There were fights.
Yeah, those Ravens thugs were pushing and shoving after every play, it seemed. I mean, they really did. It was very aggressive in that first quarter, I thought.
Yeah, but you know why, though? Because in every game, players get a feel for how officials will call that game, and then they do as much as they can get away with. And they knew that throwing a punch probably wouldn't get a flag, much less an ejection. And even in that big melee in the second quarter, it looked to me like there were guys that could have been ejected from that game, but it was the Super Bowl, and the officials wanted the players to play it out. And so that's what happened in that end. It was pass interference. It was holding, in my opinion, but both guys were interfering with the other, and the officials said play it out.
That's right. I think he got it. He gave as good as he got there. Hey, listen, I want to talk a little bit about give the Ravens their due. I stand in awe of Kaepernick as a quarterback. I mean, this guy has got an arm the likes of which I don't think we've seen in the NFL in some time. Were you as impressed with Kaepernick as I was?
Yeah, I was impressed with his arm. I was impressed with his speed. But more than anything else, Brian, I was impressed with his demeanor. Because here he is in his 10th start ever, the second year of his career. He's in the Super Bowl down 22 points in the third quarter. And he came back after that power outage and made the plays to lead his team back to have a chance to win. And I'll tell you, physical talent is all over the place in quarterbacks in college and in the NFL. But that kind of
poise
mindset is what impressed me about this kid.
All right, the other thing that I want to ask you about was we had this power outage, and up until the power outage, it had been all Ravens, all Ravens, all Ravens, even coming back in the second half and running back the kickoff. 108 yards, I think, was the final verdict of how long that run back was. And then we had the power outage, and it seemed after the power outage, it was all about the 49ers. Do you think that when you have a break in the middle of the game that long, that it can help change the momentum from one to the other?
It absolutely did in this case. And the reason is that the 49ers were on their heels. The Ravens were making plays. The 49ers had no answers. And when that break happened, everybody had a chance to regroup. And what happened is the Ravens lost their forward momentum. The 49ers had a chance to kind of reset. And if it helped anybody, it had to be the 49ers. It could not possibly help the Ravens because the Ravens were already on as big a roll as you could get into in the Super Bowl. So there was only one option there, and that was for it to hurt the Ravens and help the Niners.
Hey, Trevor, of course, the big news for the Redskins is that RG3 won the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and we're thrilled with that, of course. But there have been some complaints from the Colts. They thought that there was maybe a little bit of an East Coast journalist bias here, and Andrew Luck had been overlooked. Is there some validity to that argument?
No, there is not. If RG3 did not have an MVP-style season, an Offensive Rookie of the Year caliber season himself, then you could say, yes, there could have been some bias. But you can't point to RG3 and say he did not deserve it. You also cannot point to Andrew Luck and say he did not deserve it. They both did. And so I don't think the Colts can say that there was any kind of bias that just didn't fall their way. But I think this also gives us the opportunity in looking at Kaepernick, who very much is similar to RG3 in style in terms of his running and in terms of his great arm, as to what the future for the Redskins might look like, because RG3 brings the same kind of capability to the table as this young quarterback that got the 49ers to the Super Bowl.
And were you pleased? Apparently the reports are that, RG3 took to the stage, was walked without crutches, had only a minor noticeable limp. Sounds like he's well on the road to recovery there.
Yeah, he will be ahead of the normal run for this, the recovery time. The thing is, because it was not just one ligament, it was two ligaments, one in the front, one on the side of his knee, it will greatly lengthen the length of time that he will need to rehab this thing. And so the Redskins should take a very cautious approach in bringing him back. And that means even if he doesn't begin the season this year, they need to think long term, and I believe that they will.
Let's just make sure he stays away from that deer antler spray. Last question. Hey, Trevor, they started the show last night with an interview with the president. He talked about the safety concerns in the NFL. I don't know if you saw this, but Deion Sanders told USA Today he thinks that former players are trying to make money off of these concussion lawsuits. He says the game is a safe game. The equipment's better. He says, I don't buy all these guys coming back with these concussions. I'm not buying all that. What do you think of this?
Well, I think there's truth on both sides. I think ultimately, though, that the game is dangerous. Players do have brain issues later in life because of the game. Now, you can say that the players knew the risks when they played, and that is true. But you can also say that the owners are making money on sapping the long-term health of players. That is also true. Both sides understand the game that they're playing, and while the players need to accept their share of the risk, the owners, I believe, need to also accept their share of the responsibility to take care of players who do come down with some of these long-term injuries later in life.
All right, well, listen, I'll tell you who doesn't have any brain issues. It's Trevor Matich.
No.
And I'm so glad that you're our official Redskins confidant, and we look forward to talking to you as the offseason continues.